Press back on the intro again.
Frozen. I'm frozen.
Oh no.
We are live. We are live.
Okay, let's just. I don't know why.
Just go.
Hold up. I know.
Andando.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Del Professore. Today is the third and final episode of the Vermouth Society's Del Professore mixing with Del Professore.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the title. We had a little bit of a technical just a moment ago, which was highly stressful, I think, on my part. And then looking into your eyes, I've completely forgotten everything I was meant to do as an intro. But we know it's episode 3 of the Vermouth Society with Del Professore and Leonardo Leuci.
Yeah,
Did I get it? Is it closer?
It's closer.
It's getting slightly better.
Yeah. Every episode is better.
All brought to you by the Campari Academy. Okay, so today we are going to take everything we've gotten from the previous 2 episodes, which were the first episode we were talking about the history of vermouth, dating all the way back to like the Roman times and pre-Roman times, and there was, what was it? You said like at the time of Jesus there was 60 something different vermouth.
But not really. Like essentially, like there was a big knowledge about like flavored wine during the Roman time. They was using spiced wines as medicine at the beginning, and after they was using these for recreative purpose. But like there was a huge knowledge about how to make and use spiced wine and flavored wine. at
Yeah.
that time.
So we started out talking about how long the history has been, how it's made. The second episode, we talked a lot about what was in Del Professore and the fact that it's not as bitter, the fact that it's a recreation of a style of vermouth
Yeah,
from the old days.
yeah. Essentially, like the vermouth was a big category, but like what we know is that the style of vermouth when vermouth is born, when Turin vermouth is born, was not as bitter as a lot of people think. We have to remind that we was coming back from the Rosolio era. So like Rosolio was very, very, very sweet stuff. So like according also to the recipe that we had from that time, there was a certain kind of bitterness, but was not like can't be compared with like the amaro like bitterness that
I
we
see what
like
you mean.
today, or we was like mellow, smooth like vermouth, very wine focused. So like the wine was very important part of vermouth production. Wine was defining the quality. This is why at the Prof we really put an accent on wine used to produce the vermouth. So like
And then Muscat grapes, wasn't it? That was one of the
Muscat
big things
grape,
you
yeah,
talked
yeah,
about.
absolutely.
So we talked about the history. We talked about where vermouth and flavored wines have come from throughout the ages. We talked about how Del Professore performs and how it tastes. We tasted the different ones. I think you blew my mind when you pointed out that actually, you know, Jerry Thomas and all the early golden era bartenders were mixing with Italian vermouth, which
Yeah.
I always took as sweet, you know, red, dark red, rich vermouth, as I knew Italian to be. But you said no, it was more of a Classico style.
Yeah, yeah, because like if you take a look to the history, like we can start to see like definition red vermouth just at the beginning of 1900, so 1915. But before the vermouth was just called sweet or Italian, and we know really well that the color was not as dark as today. There were different nuance of color used to make vermouth, but nobody was really focusing makes red vermouth till
Yeah,
they
yeah.
started to call it red vermouth. And so, like when we recreate the Classico, the idea was also to give the opportunity to people to enjoy and mix with the vermouth that really matched the style of the vermouth that Jerry Thomas, Harry Johnson, and all these bartenders was using.
Yeah, so those were the first two episodes. We talked about those things. The second episode, I think it was, my mind was blown when you mentioned that a traditional Manhattan that Jerry Thomas would have been making would not have. It would have been more transparent, right?
I was having this conversation with some bartenders online some months ago, and it was like like David Fundrich that came into the discussion.
Yeah.
And I was telling us like quite sure that the vermouth was not so dark, and quite sure also that the whiskey was not so dark.
The whiskey wouldn't have been as dark as well because it wouldn't have been aged as long. So,
Yeah.
so I got super excited about the idea of making a Manhattan as close as possible to the original.
We could try.
But I think you kind of promised that we would do that this time.
Yeah, I think we can mix. If I remember how to do it, I will do it because like it's long time I'm not behind the bar like for a shift because I lose a little bit my but I think I can make a couple of drinks. Yeah,
I don't think you'll ever lose it. It's
you think it's like going bike?
It's going to be like riding a bicycle.
Riding a bike. Okay.
For those of you at home that are as excited to see him mix a drink as I am, I've set up the bar for you. So should we go straight into mixing a drink? Because I'm dying to try one of these Manhattans. All right, let's get up to the bar. And
very good setup.
okay, let's go. Right. What are we going to make?
So essentially, what we like to do also at Jerry Thomas Bar was to try to recreate the style of drinks that like bartender was making in the pre-prohibition era. So drinks was really different if you compare, for example, with the recipe from 1950, 1960. For example, the drinks was very smooth. If you take a look to the Manhattan recipe, that we can make it, was a very smooth drink at the beginning. Half enough Italian vermouth and
Yeah,
and whiskey.
it wasn't as strong, right?
No, but also there was in Italian we say era condito, so they garnish a lot with like maraschino,
Yeah.
curacao, dash of absinthe, sugar syrup, like gum syrup. So
Yeah.
like essentially the drink was very smooth. Was for everybody, not only for strong drinkers or people that like really dry drink. No, it was a drink that can really be a drink for everybody. So we can make one.
Would you say that? Do you think the rye whiskey? Because in those days, I think they would have been sending casks of whiskey, right? It would have been cask strength.
I think that like what we know, according a little bit to the story of 80, 50, 80, 60, there was not a strong regulation in whiskey production, in American whiskey production. We know that there's some hack at the end of 1800s. They start to put some rules. People can add some, additives to the whiskey according to whiskey story, and also sugar or sherry or other stuff. But I think that high quality place was having very good whiskey, so with no additive, blah blah. So I think that Jerry Thomas, for example, there was a whiskey.
He would have had
collectors.
a really good quality whiskey.
Really
it
good
wouldn't have been just straight.
Absolutely.
Just cask
So,
strength.
but the most important
Fire
things
water.
for me was really the ratio. The ratio that for me are really important. So what we'll do, we'll do the classical. So it's kind of a reproduction of the style of vermouth that was using in the United States when vermouth started to be exported, 1838, almost. We are almost sure that this is the date. Some American whiskey.
So this is the style of vermouth made to be as close as possible to the Italian vermouths that were being exported out before 1915.
Yeah, according to all the recipe we got, according to all the studies we have done, the color is really similar to, or is almost the same of what was, and so like.
And we're using an Angostura, like aromatic bitters in there, yeah?
Angostura aromatic bitters, but I like to play also with a dash of absinthe that I think is very good in Manhattan. A little bit of gum syrup to give more smoothness.
This is going to be super smooth.
Yeah, super smooth. Yeah. You can play also with a little bit of maraschino or cordial that was used a lot. You can find the maraschino or the curacao in a lot of recipes. So we can imagine these very, very smooth drinks.
Okay. So you kind of like pimped my Manhattan there. You made it really, really nice.
But like Jerry Thomas, we started to sell these very smooth. We started to sell this very smooth like Manhattan version, and people go crazy. And people that never had a Manhattan in their life became Manhattan regulars, and for us was very, very, very interesting because we think that like creating like a smooth recipe more easy to drink. You also bring people
look at the color
into
of
the
it.
word. I think that was also more clear in the past.
Yeah.
Also because I always make this joke, so like I think that Jerry Johnson was very smart bartenders. I can't imagine like Jerry Thomas or Harry Johnson put a cherry in a drink if they can't see it,
Yeah.
So like that. And I finished this with you know, like
Ooh.
nice.
Yeah, it's magnets. So if there's anyone, we can't see the comments. That's why I'm looking around kind of frantically. But if anyone does have any comments and they want to ask
Yeah.
any questions of our maestro, would you call yourself a maestro?
No, there's only one maestro.
Maestro.
Yeah, only one, and it's not me. So like, I tried this. Most wonderful Manhattan I ever tried in my life. No, just-
I'm so excited about this.
So like very smooth Manhattan. Very interesting.
It smells nice. You get a little hint of the absinthe.
Yeah. We can also play now with another drinks that we really like at the Jerry Thomas. That is the Martinez. You know, Martinez is a drink that we have to decoding a little bit. You know, like we have
Decode it.
Yeah, because like you take a book, you take every single book, and you start to read the recipe of Martinez. You find gin, and after you try the recipe, you try the recipe with like classic London Dry, and it doesn't work. With a modern whole tom, so and so. So like we understand that if you want to do a proper Martinez according to the classic recipe, you have to use an Holland style gin. So Geneva, 100% malt Geneva, or American Holland style gin.
Okay.
There are some that are trying to create this kind of style. And the drink is totally different, another dimension. So we using now Geneva. You know, like I like these.
Yeah, it's so easy to use. It's
Very nice.
It's that jigger is not one that the people that make it are trying to get bartenders to put into their cocktail bars. But for someone at home, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really good. And if you do need to measure 2.5 mils in very small amounts, it's brilliant for that because it's got steps.
So essentially, what is the Martinez? It's a simple, easy twist on the Manhattan. The gin starts to raise the popularity. People starts to look for a little bit drier drink. So like Geneva starts to take place in a lot of different recipe, and it works really well with Vermouth. We play always with like like classic bitters, orange bitter,
So what we've got orange bitters in there. What have we put in so far? The
Angostura, Geneva, Classico Vermouth, orange bitter, and Angostura. And after, once again, you play a little bit with like splash of absinthe. That works really well. You play with like Curacao. Like Curacao is another.
I love that you take the basic classic recipe and add little hints.
Yeah, this was, I think, like
It was the style of the time, right?
cocktail was so basic essentially. So a drop of maraschino, drop of Curacao, drop of absinthe. Different kind of bitters used to create a different nuance. Like was the only way they have to be more creative. It's not like today that we have a lot of stuff that we can use, like tons of flavoring agent and techniques.
And fruits from all over the world because of the logistics,
But also there was not a lot of cocktails, so every small single detail makes a difference. Take a look, for example, to like all the Tart Club, Marguerite, blah blah. Just like changing the anisette with absinthe was creating a different drink.
Yeah.
Or changing the style of the gin, using like dry gin, old tom, Holland style, Plymouth style, would give you a different cocktail. So
It would have a different name rather than just
Absolutely.
being something. I'm gonna quickly ask you a question because we've got questions coming in.
Yeah.
So someone has asked, which is Leo's favorite, the Classico or the Rosso? If you have to pick between your children.
I like the Classico. I really like the Classico because I can use it for a lot of different stuff. For example, I like it with a cheese board.
I'm gonna
For me, it's the classical cheese board is amazing. But the Rosso for me is perfect for really classic drinks. I like to have like a smooth Negroni, smooth Americano. I really like it. It's good.
So you'll use the Rosso in a Negroni, and you'll use the Classico in when you're recreating like
Yeah.
old style classics.
So Abu Martinez. The Classico, it's perfect combined with heavy malted spirits.
Yeah.
It's really a style of vermouth that combined with, whiskey, Scotch whiskey, Genever, it works really, really well. Amazing. And it works really well also when you create a contrast, for example, with the mezcal. It works really well. The sweetness and a little touch of smoke, it works really well. So like classic Martinez, it's one of the best seller in Jerry Thomas.
This does a really good job of rounding out the absinthe flavor.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan of pastis. I think I might have even said that before. Absinthe, Pernod,
You know,
Ouzo.
like this honey.
It's just a flavor. When I first started bartending, I was working in a big busy nightclub, and everybody was drinking black sambuca. Opal Nero. And so many shots every time they'd buy me shots, as a tip. And eventually, at first it wasn't a problem, but eventually it was like,
But
and it extended to absinthe. But this, I not only can drink it, but it actually tastes really. It's Moorish almost.
in Vermouth you have you have the wormwood and so you have these little touch of balsamic flavor that's coming out. There's other drinks we can play
balsamic flavor.
to
Really nice.
to let you understand how we think about drinks, Jerry Thomas, where we find ideas. We always take a look to the past. I always say to the young bartenders, also the guys that work for me, that I don't know, I have to do like Campari competition, how I create the drinks.
There's a Campari competition?
Yes. And they take a look to the bottles and say, oh, but if I mix these and that, like it will work. I say, dude, take an old book, take an old recipe, take inspiration, start from something that it works well. Sometimes they do that and they have good results. Sometimes they don't do that. They start to mix. and
You gotta let them do their own thing. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So this question is from Patrick. He says, I really love the idea of a dash of maraschino and dash of absinthe. Is it also because in the old-timey Jerry Thomas era, when the drink was created, the whiskey was not as good as the whiskey is today?
It's possible. Like, I think that the idea of cocktails in general in America was, we have something that is good, but, so a little bit of sugar, a little bit of bitter, like we chill a little bit, and when vermouth is arrived, they say, Eureka, oh my God, vermouth solve a lot of our problems because you can mix with every single spirit and upgrade the level of the drink. So, I'm quite sure that the quality of the spirits at that time was not like today. This is why they need to play with all these cordials because they need to give roundness, a little bit of sugar that always help. It's normal. It's normal.
Well, it would be a bit of a it'd be a bit of a tragedy if the spirits 200 years ago were considerably better than the stuff they're making today. Like, surely they're learning from each generation as they're going along.
This was not the Italian problem, for example, because when you have Campari,
when
you need more. When you have good vermouth, this is why Italian mixing culture started when cocktail became a trend. But before we didn't need it because you have Campari, you had cells, you have a magnific drink, you have vermouth, you have splash of cells, and it was wonderful for us. The complexity of a vermouth was enough. We were really happy. and I think in America they have a different problems. Like for example, to understand how difficult it was to express a certain creativity, take a look to Jerry Thomas drinks, like Japanese cocktail. It's just like a splash of orgeat. You know, like revolutionary things.
Yeah.
You know, like you can imagine that just use something that was not plain sugar was something considered like, oh my God, like, you know, like something totally new in terms of creating a new flavor dimension at that time. So like,
and people also, how hard would it have been to get almonds? Like, not everyone would have
I don't know.
had almonds in their homes.
I think the French bring there. French bring a lot of stuff in that. In US, especially in the area, New Orleans, the absinthe, the cognac,
French water,
the like all the style of the bitters that was using there also was inspired by different kind of mix, according to a little bit of anise, that you can find in different bitters.
I've noticed you like to pair the vermouth with anise. Like,
I like it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? So you know these really well.
Yeah.
If bartenders are mixing, right, and they know they're mixing with Del Professore. Is that right?
Del Professore, yeah.
Or is it the Professor? Can I just say the Prof?
Del Professore.
Del Professore. So they're mixing with Del Professore. If they already have the bottle, and they're gonna bring in one bottle of bitters.
Yeah.
Would you say you stick to the Angostura, or would you go something along the lines of Peychaud and start to play out?
I suggest to go for Campari.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody think that can use Campari only as like Negroni ingredients, blah blah blah. But you can easily play with Campari as
it is the bitters.
As bitters, and play with Campari, like Vermouth with just a dash of Campari. It works really well. And I think that is also a different way to use Italian Amaros, because also Cynar can be easily used to have, as concentrated bitter, as flavoring bitters. So I think that, I like Angostura, Peychaud, they are essential, but you really can play today with a lot of different, Amaros that can help you to.
When you guys were doing the Jerry Thomas project, you were going back. You'd been overseas. You'd been to London. You said you went back. You met a few of your friends. You went to have a drink at the pub. They decided to buy the pub that you went to have a drink at. Yeah. And then you weren't ready to move into it straight away, if I remember my story correctly. So you opened after people finished their bar shifts for bartenders in the area, to bring all the knowledge and all the experience that you guys had learned from around the world back to your home, right?
The idea was this, now we start to have these hold books that was very difficult to find, because today you can download. But 15 years ago,
I know, I remember.
15 years ago was not easy. You have to wait, there's a new drink, there's a new book coming out that you have to buy and let it ship it from New York. So essentially the idea was, we have this new book. We want to try some recipe. We went because everybody at Jerry Thomas, I bring a bottle of whiskey, I bring a bottle of these. I was in Holland, I have a bottle of Geneva, blah blah blah. And we started to try,
So did you I'm gonna do a little experiment here, a thought experiment. So you're going back through all the old books. Did you just were people coming in after their shifts and saying, "Hey, I've been reading this Paul Mull Parma cocktail, like Palmetto.
Yes.
Can we make a Palmetto?" And then you'd start with the basic recipe.
Yes.
Right. So if for the kids at home that are looking to do the same thing as the Jerry Thomas project did, you'd start with the basic recipe first, and then start tweaking it to bring it to the modern.
Yeah, because after you try the drink, you say, okay, it's good, but I think that we need to improve because people are changed. Taste of people are changed. Ingredients are probably a little bit different. So, for example, you mentioned the Palmetto.
Yeah, Palmetto.
So Palmetto called for San Croix rum. Okay? Yeah. That is a specific style of rum that now it's not simple, not easy to find it. If I have to make a Palmetto today, I say, okay, I have to create a blend of rum or use a rum that can make good drinks today. So, for example, we make a palmetto. Palmetto is very easy drink.
Okay, so for anyone that can't see, which you can't because the book is tiny, unless there you go. So palmetto, this is from the Savoy cocktail book. I think it was first in 1930. 2 dashes of orange bitters, half Italian vermouth, half Sancro rum.
Sancro rum, yeah.
Sancro rum. And it says shake well and strain into a cocktail glass.
Yeah.
Would you take the shaking with a pinch of salt?
This is like 1930.
Yeah.
And I think that shaking was a trendy stuff,
Yeah.
Bartenders show them to shake. It was very good. So
It's like a cocktail competition. As soon as someone starts shaking,
yeah, everybody.
like they don't do it normally.
So I think that I will go for steer.
Okay.
So what we do, essentially, very easy drink. I can go for a little drier ratio. If you compare with Manhattan and the Martinez, so I go for 2 part to 1 part, 2 part of rum on 1 part of vermouth. I will use Di Torino.
Okay. Do you want me to? Is that open? Do you want me to open it for you?
It's okay.
No. Okay.
I have a bottle open.
Yeah, another one. Do you know the story of the palmetto? Does it just pop up? Oh.
I just pop up, it's on Harry Craddock 1930 books. He's very interesting drinks because he's always kind of rum Manhattan or this kind of style. It's an easy drink to make. So I play with orange bitters, but I like the combo.
Yeah.
And also
I used to pre-make combination drinks in
I
bar.
discovered that sometimes that is also something that David told me. Sometimes bartending in the past was they was not telling the full story of the drinks. So they were cutting some some information to don't give the opportunity to others to replicate exactly the recipe. So I think that a lot of people were using a combo of bitters. So
it's the most straightforward thing, isn't it, that way? And this is, in case anyone's interested, cheeky Appleton 12.
Yeah, good.
So
Appleton 12.
we're putting only the good stuff in.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh.
Vermouth.
I've never noticed the cork before.
Yeah.
The cork is great.
Very easy, drinks. But we are talking now about what we can do to do, something a little bit different, and without using a rotovap. For example, interesting is a thing we can do. We can take just 1 minute leaves, put inside. You just stir it. There's some these drinks that use just a couple of leaves of mint into the shakers. They were shaking, and why not give it a little bit of freshness?
Yeah, it's one of the Clover Club.
Clover Club.
Yeah, you put a leaf in it, clover leaf. I always loved that drink. I just thought it was really nice with just 1 piece of mint, but then strain it so no one knows there's mint in there.
This is amazing Eric strainer.
Yeah, we've got birdie equipment here in some places.
Very nice, I love it.
Eric Lorenz came to my house once upon a time, and he made me a Ramos Gin Fizz. It was pretty special.
Eric
he's a legend.
The great. So what I do, we are talking about rum, so I like to, for example, play with different zest. It's rum based. I think that it works really well with, a lime zest. Why not? Okay. And if I'm not a big fan of decoration.
You like it simple.
Yeah, you can put those.
Where's this guy?
Palmetto, very good, easy, classic.
Do you always serve it down?
Yeah, I like to serve it down. Yeah.
Okay.
We find some fancy glasses on your stock. Why not? You know, like the Jamaican rum is really evident. The vermouth give you a little bit of smoothness, but you still have the kick of the Jamaican rum. And
I'm surprised the mint. The mint is it's so subtle, but it goes really well with the like I don't know how to describe it, like almost molassesy taste of rum. It's adding a little bit of green to what otherwise would be black in flavor.
this is probably a drink for a rum drinker, people that love rum. You know, the Jamaican rum is very, very recognizable.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you use it, you know, it's very
That
good.
is actually delicious.
Yeah, I like
That's
it.
really good.
But I think that you want to twist. Yeah, this is why you want to twist these. Play, you know, like
Yeah.
now, for example, you can use a sweet instead of use orange bitter. You can go for curacao,
Mm.
adding more roundness, working on that side, or you can play with a very nice triple sec. You can blend 2 or 3 different style of rum. So, like for example, if you want the lighter one, you can add like a Cuban rum mixed with the Jamaican one.
Mm.
If you want a stronger one, you can play I don't know with a high Easter Jamaican Appleton or a Demerara and Appleton. So you really can create a lot of different drinks just like doing these small
These tiny, yeah.
yeah.
I
without, like,
love the fact that you've changed and twisted the drinks quite a bit by using just the tiniest little bits of a couple of very simple things. Like for me, it almost feels like you could create the base recipe from this, and then serve it up to a guest with little tiny like droppers of curacao, like
Yeah,
yuzu curacao, and different bitters and a bit of absinthe, and they could, find their own little twist.
why I like classic cocktails is very easy because like when you introduce a guest to a classic drink, you are doing something good for like the community, because somebody can go in a bar and say, oh, I have tried a palmetto that is 90-30 drinks in that bar, can you make it? Also, if the bartender don't know how to make it, but he can easily go and check and recreate, and understanding who's in front of him, like twist a little bit in the style of the bar where it's working.
Yeah, that's such a
and
powerful
this
statement.
makes very good like service to the
Yeah.
community. If I go in a bar and I only find signature, sometimes the signature stay in the menu for 6 months and after disappear. So like you fidelize somebody
Yeah.
with the drink, and after the drink disappear, you can't replicate this drink anymore when it's out of the
Yeah,
menu
yeah.
because you don't have these crazy homemade ingredients. And so essentially, you really didn't create nothing about like something good to share with others.
Yeah.
When you introduce a guest to a classic drink, you give the opportunity to other people to understand that there's a potential in classic drink and create small
Yeah.
tiny variation. And for me, this is very interesting. Also because at one point, like the classic cocktail is, I don't know how you say it in English. Like you can compare it. So like your Manhattan can be compared with his Manhattan. Your Negroni can be compared with his Negroni.
Yeah, they're comparable.
The signature, I don't know how you call it, like the,
You can't, yeah.
the flying what you want, like. You don't like it. Oh, you don't like it because it's not your taste, blah blah. But when you play with classic drinks, the classic drinks can be essentially like compared with other classic drinks.
Yeah, and you can compare venues, their styles. You get a
Absolutely.
feel for the venue when you
Absolutely.
order a drink.
And this is a little bit scary for sometimes for bartenders. But I like, for example, when I go to I don't know, like when I go to Rules. Okay,
Yeah.
I say okay, like they do black velvet, best black velvet
Ooh.
in London. Why?
We're gonna have to go to Rules.
Why? because they serve these in this perfect a silver mug, because the champagne is amazing and it's very chill, because the Guinness is perfect. So essentially, it's very classic, not simple, not easy to find drinks. But if you have another one, this is the benchmark.
Yeah, that's it.
So if I want to do Black Velvet in another bar, I have to know that, oh my God, there's a place called Rules that makes an amazing one.
Yeah. And you can compare. Well, I've got a question for you. I've got a couple of questions. So the first one is, what other rum drinks do you like to make with Del Professore? And there's a comment that goes with that. Cocktails using spirits from cold areas such as gin and whiskey go with lemon. Spirits from hot areas such as rum and tequila go with lime. I learned this from an Italian bartender, someone said.
I don't know. I taste. I never say like this is like that. This is written on the stone. You know, like I tried, because, for example, there are some tequila drinks, like for example, tequila old fashioned with lime zest is another level.
Yeah.
But some rums, because the rums are not all the same.
Yeah.
Didn't get anything like from lime. Sometimes it works better with lemon.
Yeah.
So I tried. You try, you make the drinks, you try with lemon, with lime, and I decided I don't like to stay in, you know, like it's with rum, it's with that.
You like
it's
to
with
to
tequila.
work outside the box where you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Because also because today we have a huge range of stuff, and you know, like for example, you have like I don't know tequila, but it's aged, or mezcal, and it's aged in a certain kind of cask that have a strong impact. Probably can go better with lemon.
Yeah,
with
the cask is going to
grapefruit.
make a huge impact on it.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that is a rule. So I think
So
that
the rum question. What other rum drinks do you like to make?
with
Del Professore.
we will do one like the Caballito one for as the last one. But I like Cuban Manhattan.
Cuban Manhattan.
I love it. It's very very good. It's a drink that I like very much. People will kill me, but like I like to play, for example, with kind of daiquiri. But I split the rum with the classical one, so like a very smooth, mild daiquiri. You know, like that with this, you know, like touch of vermouth, and it works really well. There's a lot of really interesting drink with rum. If you take a book from El Barman Galante from Pichin, from Argentina, 1950, it's a very interesting book. There's a lot of recipe of cocktails made using vermouth mixed with tropical stuff.
Yeah. Are we gonna make another drink? We got another one?
Yeah, absolutely. We do Metropole or a twist on Metropole. Metropole is another nice drink. I think it was released in 1895 and Kapler's drink. Kapler's book.
It's older than us.
Yeah,
sure.
it's very old. It's interesting because you use cognac.
Yeah.
So it's a drink that shows us that vermouth and cognac work really well.
It's a natural pairing. Yeah.
Natural pairing, like vermouth, Italian vermouth, works really well with a lot of spirits, with almost all the spirits. In the original recipe, this was made with French vermouth, but there was sugar inside, and for me was why. So like instead of use like a French vermouth with sugar, use like an Italian vermouth.
Yeah.
Because like it can work really well. So my version of the Metropole. So what we do, ice, baby.
You still have plenty of ice?
Yeah, I think I'm good. So we have our cognac.
And we've got an aged cognac here. Would you always use an older one? Would you use a
I use a good cognac. I try to avoid cognac with too much boisé for the mixing drinks.
Yeah.
After what I will do, I will split the two vermouth.
Ooh.
So 50% of the Classico, a little bit of the Torino Classico, so the red one, half and half.
So the Classico's not in the UK just yet.
Not yet, because very small production.
Yeah.
Really, we don't have the opportunity to bring them back to UK.
Okay.
Now, playing Metropole. I like to play with my fancy maraschino and with a different style of vermouth, like New Orleans style bitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of dash, New Orleans style.
So we've got
bitter.
that anisey sort of flavour coming
Yeah,
back in again.
I like it. Absolutely. And also like classic Angostura, why not? So like it's a twist on the classic one, no French vermouth with sugar, but a blend of Italian vermouth, splash of maraschino, two different kind of bitters, a very good cognac.
So in the early days of the Jerry Thomas project, how many of these kind of drinks would the guys be drinking after?
Like it was funny. This was really funny. It was my partner, the crazy guys. Like essentially, almost every 2 weeks they want to come out with a new menu with 10 classic drinks. So the idea was we keep these drinks on the menu for 2 weeks, and after we take 10 more classic cocktails.
Oh.
Was crazy. And after 6-7 years, we understand. Oh, people love these.
These are the ones that stay. These are
and
the
we
ones,
create these things that is the Jerry Thomas House of Classics. So it's a list of 15 drinks, the most selling drinks from the first 10 years of Jerry Thomas, and these will stay on the menu forever.
Okay, amazing.
Or till somebody say, we don't really. There's some drinks that really sell zero, so we change it with another classic. But till now, it's working well. People really love our classics, our small little personalization on classic, and that's it.
Is the Negroni on the menu? Yeah, okay. Because I can never tell when I'm in Italy. It's almost like the Negroni's not a cocktail. It's just a way of life. It's always there. You know, everywhere you go, they can make a Negroni.
I think that the Negroni raise in the last 10 years was very good things, because also elevate the quality of the Negroni, because before that time was a little bit undervalued drink.
You think it was underrated?
Yeah, was
even in Italy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in the 90s and 2000 was underrated drinks. You can find carafe of Negroni
people just
in
wanted
disco,
sugar.
Because people was thinking it was a very strong drink, so we'll have it in a disco. But after they understand that is a perfect aperitivo, is a amazing aperitivo, and so people start to really take care of the Negroni to really upgrade the style of service, the level of service, taking care of the highs, taking care of everything. And if you take care of your Negroni using the right ingredients, for me, it's one of the best drinks in the world. Yeah.
And can I ask? So you said earlier, Del Professore Vermouth de Torino, the red vermouth, also is what you're using in a Negroni.
Yeah.
But you said the Classico works better with whiskey, malty, aged drinks. If you make a Boulevardier, would you use the Classico or would you use the Rosso?
Boulevardier is a drink that, because if you take a look at the recipe, the 1927 recipe, you still don't know, for example, if it was a straight
if it's
drink,
up or down,
half.
exactly.
You don't know a lot of things.
It's because he wasn't a bartender; he was a journalist.
I think at the time, they was using the classic Torino.
Yeah, it would have been, right?
Nice, smooth Torino, because we were in the 2730s, so that style was very, very strong at that time. So
and it's Paris, so it's not. It hasn't had to travel very far.
France was the biggest importer in the world of Italian vermouth.
Really?
Absolutely.
The French are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Scotland and everybody's drinking vodka.
You go in Brazil, everybody's drinking vodka.
Everyone's drinking vodka. Yeah, people don't drink. I think the one place I realized that the locals do actually drink their local spirit is Mexico.
Yeah.
They drink tequila in Mexico.
But yeah, but like also if you go in a disco in Mexico, they
Oh,
drink,
I see.
they drink Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of songs that go like, like "Mami, order a Buchanan para mí." There's videos of a very old, like 80 something, like ladies that receive as a gift a bottle of very famous blended Scotch, and it was like if they was making like a €1 million gift.
Yeah, wow.
So like we're gonna go for the last drink.
Last drink. Okay, we're on last orders now.
Last orders.
Oh, we need a bell.
Bell.
Ding, ding. I need a bell. Oh, actually, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So I always say to people like take inspiration from classic books. Take inspiration from people that have done research. About classic drinks. And there was very interesting for me drinks from Beechwoodberry books. Jeff came out with this Caballito that somebody also called Caballito Mojito. That is essentially a mojito that split the spirit part into vermouth and rum.
Okay.
And also I've seen different recipes. Some recipe called for dry vermouth, other recipe called just for vermouth. And this is a little bit like the same problem with the Presidente. The best recipe I tried is with a vermouth that replicate the style of the Chambéry of the time.
Yeah.
That is something in the middle between the Torino and the Bianco.
So for this, what would you use? Would you use the Classico?
I would use the Classico.
Yeah, that's what I think.
At the Jerry Thomas, we had this drink on the menu. Was very, very popular for long times, and we was using the Classico. It works really, really well, giving you a little bit of roundness and smoothness.
Okay, so I've been given a bell now. This is the official last order spell.
I squeeze the lime. I don't muddle the lime. I don't know if you have this problem in UK.
I did juice.
Yeah,
I don't muddle
in Italy, like this is in Italy. There's still a lot of people that makes the mojito using the
big muddling stick.
Like muddlers and brown sugar. That is most stupid things. Most stupid things ever for the bar.
I never understood the brown sugar.
I never understand because it doesn't melt. So
yeah. But people just see brown sugar as better than white sugar. So, like, if you're using better ingredients, you're upgrading the drink, not necessarily, upgrading the lime flavor, but certainly upgrading something.
So, like a little lime.
Have you been to Cuba?
Yeah, a lot of time. I was there, like.
That was probably a very silly question to ask.
Several times. I love Cuba. Cuban cocktail culture really impressed me. Probably, I was there in beginning of my career in the beginning of '90s, and was really the first place in the world where I saw that the seniority of the bartender was considered. Yeah. So the bartender was considered like a high-level worker. Yeah. Like somebody that really represent cultural things, not only like an employee.
It's like there was they froze time.
Yeah. It was a place that really impressed me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I loved Cuba. But one of the things, there's a bartender called Jake Berger who talks about making a daiquiri, and he was speaking about how the bartenders were squeezing the limes by hand, and it meant some of the oils from the outside of the lime was being mixed into the premixed juice.
I like it.
So when they shook the daiquiri, they're getting that hint of sparkle from the oil in the outside of the lime.
So after I take the mint, I love this mint.
It looked really sad earlier on, but our helpy helper Lee Linford is just a master of absolutely everything, and he fixed it. He brought it back to life.
I use all the the mainspring, not
Yeah.
only the leaves. And because I use it like sugar syrup, because on all the recipe I got for the cabalito, that was using sugar syrup. We're talking about the drinks
Okay.
from 1950. So like I think that's sugar syrup.
And you hand squeeze the limes, did you?
Yeah. I squeeze
Yeah.
the lime with the hands.
So we've got that little bit of oil going in. It's not muddled, but we've got that little bit of oil going in from the
Absolutely.
hand squeeze.
After. Soda. I will not kill nothing, just a little bit of, like of these. Just to release the flavor. Vermouth.
So you do soda before the vermouth?
Yeah.
And would you normally use crushed ice in this or cubes?
No, like cube, yeah.
Okay.
I put soda before the spirit. Like I don't know if like in Cuba they do the same thing.
Mm?
Yeah.
It's like the gravity, right?
Yeah, light rum.
So we got a question coming in. I'm not sure who it's from, but it says, I always drink an Adonis or a bamboo to test vermouth. How do you tell what is a good vermouth? I really enjoyed El Professore.
I can tell you something. Adonis is a great drink. Bamboo is an amazing drink to play with vermouth. I always like to use very sweet, sherry instead of the fino, blah blah, and sweet vermouth. For me, the combination of complexity you can give with a nice sweet vermouth and a nice blend of, for example, a mix of Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez, or like a blend. So it really creates a complexity that is amazing.
Yeah.
And my style is always trying to have a very smooth flavor. I like acidity when I need acidity.
Yeah.
When I don't need acidity, I like smooth flavor. I like when the drinks are a little bit smooth. I understand that people love it. People love it the smooth, old-fashioned. People don't want the dry old-fashioned. If people dry old-fashioned, they drink like straight whiskey.
So, because I've noticed your cocktails are always very rounded. Like they're balanced and they're rounded. There's no sharp edges to them.
The idea is to have, but also because this is a little bit of experience we had with Jerry Thomas. We understand that people that drinks dry drinks of strong drinks in Italy it's like 5%, of the total. Most of the people likes smooth round drinks.
Yeah.
Most of 90%, 95% of people want smooth drinks. It's not about sweetness, it's about smoothness.
Yeah,
And
they
this is
just want to
different
have a good time.
Yes, just exactly.
They can be
Exactly.
challenged at work, but on their time off, they don't want to be challenged. They want nice, smooth drinks. So the question was, though, they like to try either the Adonis or a bamboo to test a good vermouth. But how do you tell if it's a good vermouth? Like, if you're tasting a new vermouth you've not tasted before, how do you know if it's a good one?
From the label, for example.
Does it say Torino on it?
Yeah. So, for example, Torino is a very important thing. Is the one and only IGT that give you the insurance that there's no chemicals, there's nothing added, no additives, no chemical additives, no caramel, blah blah. It's good things. It's the only IGT that tell you, oh, we use Italian wines, we use Piedmont wines. Like this wine have to be, certain kind of wines, not like like cheap stuff.
There's a guarantee of quality. So I think we might be running a little over time. We got into a flow state there. Did you notice that it didn't feel like we were here very long at all? But yeah, I'm going to taste this, and then I think if there's any more questions.
So like the vermouth, round a lot, like they give you like a hint of spiciness with a mint, the freshness. It works really well.
Oh, what was that called again?
Cabalito or Cabalito Mojito. Yeah.
Cabalito Mojito. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
just to show people that vermouth can be used.
I'm going to get this mixed up with cabaneros.
Yeah.
Because my son keeps watching the Disney program, The Three Cabaneros, all the time.
Like I think that it's a demonstration.
Those drinks are so good. Do you want to just stay here?
Demonstration like vermouth can be used in a lot of different style of drinks, not only classic, Italian style drinks or classic pre-prohibition American drinks, but you really can play with like tropical style drinks, rum style drinks, and it's very good. It's I think that is something that old bartenders, like bartenders from the past, understood. Because they was using vermouth in a lot of different way. Take a look of tropical mixing culture in Cuba, in other islands in the 50s, 60s, and you can find a lot of recipe with vermouth. Take a look to like books from Cuba, from Argentina, from that time, and you can get a lot of inspiration about. So I think like vermouth is really something that you can use for other things. I say from vermouth cocktail, just like like shot of vermouth with some bitters.
That is the one. That's vermouth cocktail
Wow.
is the one that you would use to test the vermouth.
2 or
right?
3 stuff mojito,
Well, I think we're being waved down now. I think we've run a little bit over time, but I want to say massive thank you for
Thank you to
coming
you.
along today.
Thank you to you.
And if anyone has been tuned in and seeing the smile on my face, you should be very jealous of this seat right here. Today I've gotten a great opportunity to see one of the world's masters of classic cocktails, Leonardo Leuci.
Yeah.
Leuci.
We're almost
making me drinks. Tomorrow, if you're around at the same bar time, same bar channel, we're going to be coming back with Giorgio Bargiani, and he's going to be
Real master.
mixing up some drinks. I'd say I'm gonna see if we can make him sweat a little bit and make him make drinks that he probably wouldn't ordinarily make at the Connaught. That's the plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming down today. This has been absolutely spectacular. The drinks are much better than you could imagine. If I could only impart the flavor across the screen, it would be epic. But yeah, join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. It's going to be loads of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
Legend. That was so good.
Thank you.